This conference will now be recorded.
Hey, hi guys. Today onwards we're going to talk about Sqoop. So Sqoop is again an important module in the big data world, and I would say it is the easiest sort of all in big data. So let's get started. So what is Sqoop? So Sqoop is actually a combination of two words. It's nothing but SQL plus Hadoop. So what is Sqoop in simple terms? It's a data transfer tool. So it is basically used to transfer your data from one place to the other place. So generally it is used to transfer the data from SQL to Hadoop and then Hadoop to SQL. Now, when I say SQL here, it is nothing but any of your RDBMS. It can be MySQL, Oracle, etc. Now, when I say Hadoop here, it can be Hive or HDFS. So, if you're trying to get the data from SQL to Hadoop, then we call it as import operation. And there is also other operation called as export operation. So export operation is exactly opposite. That is, you're going to get the data from either HDFS or Hive into SQL, which is nothing but an RDBMS. So Sqoop can do only two things: import and export, nothing else. So one important point with respect to Sqoop or in general is, a lot of times in the resumes or CVs, I've seen a lot of people making a typing mistake. They'll type it as SCOOP, right? This is not ice cream scoop, right? So this is completely wrong. Make sure you look at the spelling carefully. It should be SQOOP, which is the correct one. So make sure you don't do this mistake in your resumes. Otherwise, that will be a problem. So another common mistake which I have observed is, in the resumes I've seen people added HDFC, which is again wrong. It should be HDFS. So make sure you avoid these two mistakes in your resumes. So what will happen if you do these mistakes, such as if you mention it as SCOP in your resume and HDFC, then your resume might not be shortlisted, because the recruiters, they are not from technical background. They'll just get the keyword from the hiring manager. They will start searching in the job portals. And if you have mentioned it as SCOP and HDFC in your resumes, then your resume won't be shortlisted. And let's say even if your resume got shortlisted because of other keywords, and if you're getting interviewed, if the interviewer look at these words such as SCOP and HDFC, that will leave a very wrong impression during the interview process. So please don't do that. Avoid these two common mistakes in your resumes. So what is Sqoop? It's a simple data transfer tool or data migration tool, which is actually used to transfer the data from SQL to Hadoop and Hadoop to SQL. It can do only two things: import and export. So in import operation, it's going to get the data from our DBMSs to HDFS or Hive. And in the export operation, it is reverse. It's going to get the data from HDFS or Hive into the relational databases, such as MySQL, Oracle, etc. So again, there is no coding involved in this Sqoop. It's all simple commands that we're going to learn. And it's the easiest sort of all in the big data world. So even though there is no coding, it is internally developed in Java, but again, You don't need to do any Java coding here. So in Sqoop, as I told, it can do two things: import and export. So for import operation, the source is nothing but the relational database, basically the place where you're going to get the data from, and the target is nothing but your HDFS. And in export operation, it is reverse. In export operation, the source is HDFS, and then the target is the relational database. So even though it all involves the commands internally, hey guys, can you see my screen? Can someone confirm?
No.
No.
Wait, hold on.
As for
Not
me,
visible?
I can see.
Wait 1 minute. Because others can see my screen. Can someone
I
confirm?
can see.
Yes.
Okay, it is visible, right? Then
Yes.
Shima, you have to rejoin because others can see my screen. Something wrong from your side. Try to rejoin. That should solve the problem.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So coming back to the important point, even though we are going to run Sqoop commands internally, it uses MapReduce jobs in the background. So this is one of the interview question. When you run Sqoop commands or Sqoop jobs internally, it's going to use the MapReduce jobs to do all the data transfer. Again, the last point is important, but again, you may not get it for now. You can just read it for now. So it would be map only jobs. There won't be any reduce related in those jobs. So this is a very simple architecture of Sqoop. It can do only two things: import and export, nothing else. So you have Sqoop in between, and on the left hand side you have the relational databases such as MySQL, Oracle, etc. On the right hand side you have HDFS or Hive. So Sqoop can perform an import operation, that is getting the data from relational databases such as MySQL, Oracle, etc. And then it's going to copy the data onto HDFS or Hive. And it can even get the data from HDFS or Hive to any relational databases such as MySQL, Oracle, etc. It can do only two operations: import and export, nothing else. So let's get started with the hands-on. I'm going to open the Cloudera Quick Start VM here. So right click anywhere on the desktop, say open in terminal, maximize, click on view and click on zoom in twice. So first step is to figure out the Sqoop version. Sqoop space version, enter. So again, for every Sqoop command, you're going to see first two lines. So ignore these two lines completely. It will not have any impact on your functionality or learning. Completely ignore those two lines. So here you should be able to figure out the Sqoop version. It's nothing but 1.4.6. And to see the list of all the Sqoop commands, you have to type Sqoop space help, enter. That will give you the list of all the Sqoop commands. So I've just typed Sqoop space help and I can see the list of all the Sqoop commands that are supported. And if you can have a look here, we have Sqoop list databases, or many tables are there for every sorry, there are many commands. For every command, you can say short description about it. And to see more information on a specific command, you have to type Sqoop space help and then the particular command. Suppose I wanted to know more about list databases. Then what I can do is you can just say Sqoop space help and then that particular command, that is list hyphen databases. So this is going to get me more information about this specific command. Of course, the output is huge, but don't worry about it all for now. You just have to focus on only three parameters for now. The first parameter is hyphen username. And then the second parameter is -FN password. And then the third parameter is -FN connect. Only these are the three main parameters that you should be focusing on. So we have seen the Sqoop version. We have seen how to get the list of all the Sqoop commands. Also, we have seen how to get the help on a specific command, right? So in our case, we wanted to use the MySQL as the database from which we wanted to pull the data from. So the first step is, it's a good practice to check the status of the MySQL. So the way you can check the status is by using this command. Sudo service MySQL status. So this command will give you the status of your MySQL database, whether it is up and running or not. So let's go ahead and run this command. So here I'm going to say sudo space service MySQL D status. So what is the meaning of sudo? So sudo is a combination of two words, super user, do. It's basically like running this command as root user or admin user. And then we want to check the service called as MySQL D. D stands for daemon, and we are trying to check the status of it. Hit enter. You can see the output is showing as MySQL D is running. So your MySQL database is up and running. Also, you can see something like PID. PID basically stands for process ID. So generally, you should be able to see the list of all the running processes by using PS. PS will give the list of all the processes, but it's not giving me the list of all the processes. To see the list of all the processes, you have to say PS-EAF. This will give me the list of all the processes. Hit enter. The output is huge. Again, we just have to focus on MySQL. Hence, I'm going to grep for MySQL. Enter. So from the output, you can see this process ID called as 5101. Right? If you can look at the output here, this PID 5101 is nothing but this. Right? So that's how we can make sure that your MySQL database is up and running. Now let's see how to connect to the MySQL database. So you have to type the command called as MySQL -u root -p Cloudera. This is how you're going to connect to the MySQL database. Hit enter. I'm going to set the title terminal, set title, give it as MySQL, click on OK. I want to open one more terminal. If you can click on this, I should be able to open one more terminal. Let's do that. Click on view and zoom in twice, and then set the title terminal, set title, give it as Sqoop. So we are able to connect to the MySQL database, right? So one important point which I want to talk now is with respect to JDBC. So what is JDBC? JDBC stands for Java Database Connectivity. As I told, even though we're going to run Sqoop commands, internally it is a Java code which is going to connect to the database such as MySQL. So we should have to have the JDBC jar file available. So what is JDBC? Java Database Connectivity. So Sqoop connects to the remote database such as MySQL, and it requires a JDBC jar file to be available. So you have to go to this path user share Java and verify whether you have the JDBC jar file available or not. So let us go ahead and verify the same. I'll go to the Sqoop terminal. I'll go to user share Java. So I'm in this path, user share Java. Here I wanted to check whether we have the JDBC jar file available or not. I can say lsfnlrt, and I can see that I have the JDBC jar file available. Right? So here in this case, we wanted to connect to the MySQL database and transfer the data from MySQL database to HDFS. Hence, we have the JDBC jar file for MySQL database here. Suppose in the project, if you wanted to connect to the Oracle database and then you wanted to pull the data from Oracle database, then you have to have the respective JDBC jar file for Oracle. So the basically point is very clear. The JDBC jar file changes from database to the database. So whichever database that you're going to use, you have to use the similar JDBC jar file here. So now what will happen if you don't have the JDBC jar file? It will throw class not found exception when you try to run your Sqoop commands. So there is a checklist before starting with the actual Sqoop commands. This is the checklist that we should be familiar with. So the first step is make sure you have the MySQL client installed and you are able to connect to the MySQL and check whether the credentials are working. So basically you have to basically check whether you are able to connect to the MySQL database. In our case, we have connected it by mentioning the username and password. So credentials is nothing but username and password. And then check whether the JDBC jar file is available in the lib folder. So go to var lib sqoop folder. You have to have the JDBC jar file there as well. Otherwise, you're going to see class not found exception. So let us go ahead and verify the same. I'll go to var lib sqoop path now. Var lib sqoop. So this is the path. So here you should be able to check whether you have the JDBC jar file available or not. So I have the JDBC jar file available here. So the point is very clear. So before running any Sqoop commands, it is a good practice to verify whether we have the JDBC jar file available or not. So go to user share Java, check you have the JDBC jar file available or not, and go to var lib sqoop, check whether you have the JDBC jar file available or not. What will happen if you don't have this JDBC jar file in either of these paths? It will throw class not found exception. If you try to run any Sqoop command, it will throw class not found exception. So if you see class not found exception when you run Sqoop commands immediately, you should go to this path and have a look. You should go to user share Java, check your JDBC jar file. You should go to var lib sqoop and check your JDBC jar file. If the JDBC jar file is missing, then it must be throwing the class not found exception. In that case, you have to get in touch with your Hadoop admin team or your big data operations team to get that jar file downloaded and copied into this path. So now let's try to run our first Sqoop command called as Sqoop list databases. So this is a very interesting one. If you try to run show databases on MySQL database, so whatever the list of all the databases that you are seeing right now, all those can be seen from your Sqoop as well. So let me go to my desktop, right click anywhere, create document, Sqoop. So I'm going to build my Sqoop list databases command. So first I'll try to make a note of the command, then I'll explain about that. Sqoop list databases. Then you have to mention the username, connect string, JDBC : MySQL : / localhost : 3306, and then mention the username. Username is root, and then mention the password. Mention the password. Password is Cloudera. So first let us run this command, then we'll understand about this command. So copy this command, go to the Sqoop terminal, right click and paste it. So this command is actually going to connect to the MySQL database. It's going to run show databases and then it's going to get you the results. The output that you are seeing right here is exactly the same as the output that you get when you say show databases. Right? And also you can see that ignore first two lines in every Sqoop command. Then you can see that it is saying it is running the Sqoop version 1.4.6. And then we got the output. This output that you're seeing right here is exactly same as the output that you're going to get when you say show databases. So now this command, I'm going to break it down into multiple lines. So in Linux, to break down a given command into multiple lines,
Sir, you're mute. You are in mute mode.
hello, guys, am I audible? Can someone confirm? There was
Yes.
some network glitch.
Yes.
I was not active for 1 minute, but I'm back now. Okay, I think we're good to continue. Okay. Yeah, so the point is very clear. So when you try to run your Sqoop commands, you can break it down into multiple lines. So this is not the Sqoop feature. This is basically a Linux feature, which will give you flexibility to break down a lengthier command into multiple lines by using backslash. And moreover, the output that you got from the first command, the output from that you got from the second command, both are same. They're exactly the same. So which one we are going to follow going forward? The second approach, because it will help you to read the command easily and it will help you to modify the command easily if required. So going forward, we are going to follow the second approach where we are going to break down the lengthier command into multiple lines by using backslash. Now let's talk a little bit about -" connect. What is -" connect? So -" connect is generally called as connect string. So you can see it contains. So let us do one thing. Let's break it down into multiple keywords here. What is JDBC? JDBC stands for Java Database Connectivity. So as I told, even though we're going to type commands in Sqoop, internally it's a Java code that's going to connect to your database. So that's where we need to have this JDBC. And then to which database we're trying to connect? The database name is MySQL, right? So this is the DB type or DB name. And then localhost is nothing but the place where your MySQL database is running. So when you say localhost, it's nothing but your current machine itself. So basically the current VM, the Cloud VM itself. And 3306 is nothing but the port number of MySQL database. So that's about the connect string. And of course, to connect to this database, we have to mention the username and password. Username is root, password is Cloudera. So let's do one thing. Let's try to rerun the same command once again. Copy this, go to the Sqoop terminal, right click and paste it. Enter. So now have a look here. In the output, you can see it showing us setting your password on the command line is insecure. Consider using -P instead. So basically, if you look at the command that we're typing carefully, we are hardcoding the password by saying Cloudera. So anyone can read this password and might misuse it. So it is not a good practice to use -FN password in the hard-coded fashion. So very important point, don't say that you are using -FN password in the interviews, because we will never do it, right? So be little careful. If you say that you are using -FN password, that's wrong, completely wrong. Make sure you avoid that mistake. Right? Now we will go as per this suggestion. The suggestion is consider using -P instead. Right? Now let us go ahead and try to use -P. So copy this and paste it. So now I'm going to basically use -P. So here I'm going to copy this command and go to the Sqoop terminal. Here I'm going to paste it. So here I'm going to type the password as Cloudera. So have a look here. Is there any change in the output? Output is exactly the same. And in fact, we got better security as well, because nowhere the password is visible, right? But there is one problem with this approach. The problem is here we have to enter the password again and again manually every time. So we cannot do any automation if you go with this approach. So even though it will give you security, it will hinder your automation ability, right? So that's where we will follow the third approach of using -FN password file, right? So let us see how this -FN password file works. So I'm going to create a file which contains the password in it. So let me go here. I'm going to create a file. Let's say vi space Sqoop password.txt. I'm using vi editor to open a file with the name called as Sqoop password.txt, and go into the insert mode by typing I. As soon as you type I, you should see insert at the bottom left corner. Then enter your password. Password is Cloudera, right? Enter the password. Then, of course, you guys are already aware of editor. You're going to save this file by using :q0. So I have this file called as Sqoop password.txt available. You can see the file here. Also, you can check the contents by using cat command. You can see the contents it's showing as Cloudera. Now what else? So we should be able to use this password file in our Sqoop command. So let's go back here. I'm going to copy this command and I'll paste it here. So instead of -P, I'm going to use -password-file, right? And then here I'm going to mention my password file. So where is my password file available? It's available under home Cloudera. The file name is Sqoop password.txt. So I have to mention the same file here, home Cloudera Sqoop underscore password.txt. Copy this and go to the Sqoop terminal, right click and paste it. Enter. So you can see that it's saying error while loading the password file. The provided password file doesn't exist. So are we giving the wrong path? So just double check the path again. So the path should be correct, home Cloudera Sqoop underscore password.txt. So the path is correct, right? So under home Cloudera, we have the Sqoop underscore password.txt. So the path is correct. Then
Yeah, we lost your audio.
so this time we are seeing a different error altogether, right? So this time the file has been recognized, but there is some problem with the password. But are we not giving the correct password? Just double check the same. Cat Sqoop underscore password.txt. Yes, we are giving the correct password, right? Then what are you missing out? Right, so the password is also correct. Then what is the exact issue here? The exact issue is how many characters is Cloudera? It totally 8 characters or 8 letters if you count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But one interesting thing that you should notice here is if you say LSF in LRT, Sqoop underscore password.txt, it is showing us 9 characters, 9 bytes basically. So it is supposed to be 8, but it is showing us 9 because there is a hidden new line character which automatically added after A. Because of that, there is a password mismatch, right? Whenever you try to add the contents by using VEditor, it will automatically add a hidden new line character. Because of that, it is leading to all these problems. Now let's do one thing. Let's see how to solve this problem now. To solve this problem, I am going to use something called as echo. Just type echo. Echo is actually used to print anything on any of the Linux servers or big data servers. If you say echo and then anything in the double quotes, that will be printed. Echo hello world, the same is being printed. If you say echo Cloudera, that's going to print the same, right? Now this echo command supports an interesting option. To see the manual pages of echo, say man space echo. Enter. So here you can see that echo is used to display a line of text, and there is an interesting option that is supported called as -n. So which is nothing but it will not add any new line character at the end if you use -n option. So I'm going to try out this option called as -n. Type Q to quit, and here I'm going to say echo -n Cloudera. Enter. Now the output is interesting, right? So see the clear difference. If I say echo Cloudera, it is just printing Cloudera. It is again going to the next line automatically. But here, if I say echo -n Cloudera, it is printing Cloudera. It is staying in the same line. So this is what we are going to follow, and we are going to overwrite our file. To overwrite the created file in Linux, you can use greater than symbol. This will overwrite the contents, and then the file that we want to overwrite is sqoop underscore password.txt. Hit enter. Now check the contents of sqoop underscore password.txt. It is printing Cloudera and it is staying in the same line. Also look at the size of this file now. it's showing us 8 characters as expected. Now there are no hidden new line characters. Now we can go ahead and give it a try. Now it should work as it is fine if I go back here without making any changes. If I copy this file and if I paste it here, it should work absolutely fine. Have a look here. It's working as expected. So that's how we can give the password in a secure way by using -" password file. So these are the 3 different ways of giving the password. We are using -" password, -P, and then -" password file. So the preferred approach is by using -" password file. Now there is one more interesting thing that we can try. If you want, you can keep all these options in a file and then we can use it. Let's see how it works. So I'll go here. I'll create a new file saying mysql_db.properties. Again, this extension can be anything, but it's a good practice to give it as mysql_db.properties. Go into the insert mode again and try to mention all your properties that you're using right here. So I'm going to take only the parameters that I'm using right now, such as -connect and then username and password. And then I'm going to remove this special / symbol and then break it down into multiple lines. Right? So that's how it is. Now, once this is done, you have to save and come out of this file. So you have this properties file created now, mysql_db.properties. I'm going to use the same. Before that, just double check the contents, mysql_db.properties. So let us use this file now. So go back here. Now I'm going to modify my command slightly. So here I'm going to mention -- options -file and then mention the db.properties path. So it's available under home Cloudera. The file name is mysql_db.properties. Mention the same home Cloudera mysql_db.properties. Copy this and go to the Sqoop terminal. Right click and paste it. So now have a look here. We got the output as expected. So it's a good practice if you have multiple parameters or multiple options. What you can do is you can create a properties file, something like this, and then start using that by using -" options file. So using that, you should be able to use your options file. And by the way, guys, so one thing which I forgot about password file is we were keeping the password file on local Linux file system, right? If you want, you can put it in HDFS as well. So now let us see how to copy this password file into Hadoop. So right now the file is available with the name called as Sqoop_password.txt. I want to copy this into Hadoop. So I can use put command hdfs space dfs -put. The file name is Sqoop_password.txt. I want to copy it into user Cloudera path. Now double check the contents. So hdfs space dfs -ls. Check the contents under user Cloudera path. Have a look here. I can see the password file here. So I'm going to use this password file now. As this is available in HDFS, I have to mention the full path. So the path goes this way. As it is in HDFS, you have to mention HDFS://. The path is user Cloudera and then Sqoop_password.txt. So that is the path where my Sqoop_password file is available. So let us use the same. I'll copy this and I will go to the Sqoop terminal. Right click and paste it. So now have a look here, we got the output, right? So on one flexibility that you get is, if your password file is available in HDFS, then you don't need to mention this HDFS://. You can actually remove that. So I'll copy this, I'll paste it here. I'll remove HDFS://. It should still work. Copy this, go to the Sqoop terminal, right click and paste it. Right, it works. So you can have your password file either on Linux or on HDFS, both works. Also, we have seen how to mention all the parameters in option file and then use it. Now there is one more interesting thing called as Sqoop eval. So using Sqoop eval, you should be able to run any SQL queries on top of your database by using Sqoop. So what I mean is, if I can go back here. So right now, there is a database called as RetailDB in MySQL. I will switch to the database. Use space RetailDB. So I can say show tables. So these are the list of all the tables that I've got. So suppose if I wanted to check the contents of this table called as orders, then I can do that by using Sqoop. So let me show that. So I'm going to use Sqoop eval. Use Sqoop eval. And then here I'm going to mention ---- query. Within this ---- query, you can run any valid SQL query. So, and one change that you have to make in your connect string is, here you have to mention your database name. So the database that we're going to use is RetailDB. Mention the same. RetailDB. RetailDB is the database name. And then I can say select star from orders. Let's say limit 10. So basically I wanted to check top 10 records from orders table, which is part of RetailDB in MySQL database. Let's copy this. Go to the Sqoop terminal, right click and paste it. So now we can see that we are able to see the top 10 records. So by using Sqoop eval, you can run any valid SQL query this way. And also you can double check, go to the MySQL tab, select star from orders, limit 10. You can see that you got the output, right? So that's how you can run any valid SQL queries as well by using Sqoop eval, and you have to mention ---- query. You should be able to run any valid SQL queries. So that's all with respect to Sqoop eval. So pretty much this is what I want to cover in today's session, guys. And so in the next session, I'll talk about how to perform the import operation by using Sqoop. That is to get the data from MySQL database into HDFS. Any questions anybody have so far in today's session? Any questions so far? Okay, if there are no questions, that's all for today.
I
Bye-bye.
have a question. Hello.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Sir, actually, I tried to download the software to my Apple laptop, but it did not went through. So, which
Okay, do
site
one
I
thing.
can?
Do one thing. So send a screenshot of that error to my WhatsApp number. Okay, I'll have a look and
Okay.
get back to you over there.
Okay, all right.
Okay, yeah, fine.
So is they have any other website so I can download free over there?
No, see, first I have to see the error. So do one thing. Send a screenshot of that error. Then I'll suggest accordingly.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Okay, guys, that's all for today. Bye. So Vishruta, put your email ID. I'll give you the access.